Shout out to Black Phoenix for tagging me in this story. And this is going to be a very interesting Strag Tales story right here. Because this one has absolutely nothing to do, finally, with a mother murdering her children. Or really killing anybody. But what she did is very Strag-like in nature considering the position that she has. So this woman's name is Katrina Robinson, and she's a senator in the state of Tennessee. The reason why she's making the Strag Tales list today is because she basically has been charged with stealing federal funds to fund her own personal endeavors or whatever. A Tennessee state senator has been charged with stealing more than $600,000 in federal funds received by a health care company she directed and using the money to pay for her wedding and other personal expenses. A criminal complaint unsealed Wednesday charges State Senator Katrina Robinson with theft and embezzlement involving government programs and wire fraud, U.S. Attorney D. Michael Dunavant said in a news release. Robinson, the Memphis-based school, received more than $2.2 million in federal grants from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. From 2015 through 2019, Robinson stole more than $600,000 and used it to pay for her wedding and honeymoon, a 2016 Jeep Renegade for her daughter, travel and entertainment for her family, and an event for her state Senate campaign. She also used the money to pay for legal fees for her divorce. Wait a minute. That's crazy. This woman used this money to pay for her wedding and honeymoon and also used it to pay for her divorce? That's crazy. Home improvements and a snow cone business operated by her children. The FBI searched the school and her home in February. FBI agents visited her home again on Tuesday. If convicted, Robinson faces a possible sentence of up to 20 years in federal prison. Robinson would be up for re-election in 2022. During a news conference, Robinson's attorney, Janika White, said federal prosecutors were using a statute to charge Robinson that is broad and overreaching, and Robinson would be vindicated. White said Robinson is a nurse who has been traveling outside of the state to help treat patients during the new virus pandemic. Robinson, who was black, said she will continue serving her district in the Senate with the same integrity, the same passion that I've demonstrated since you've elected me to this office. It is believed that if I were not in the position that I'm in, that if I did not champion the voices, the views, and the faces that I represent, that I would not be in this moment right now, Robinson said. I beg to differ. Because, they got Jack Johnson and his wife for the same, pretty much the same exact thing. Like, that was a huge, they made a big deal out of that. Especially when they caught them in the home trying to stuff money in their pants. I remember seeing an episode of a show where they reenacted that part, and I laughed so hard watching the reenactment because it was funny to hear the actual story itself of it happening, but then actually seeing a reenactment of it made it even funnier. But they basically did the same thing. But they're not the only politicians. That's why I call them politicians that have been known to lie and embezzle and steal money and use it for their own personal gain. And she and Jack Johnson and his wife will not be the last. Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally will be asking the Senate Ethics Committee to look into the serious criminal charges, spokesman Adam Kleinheider said in an email. In a statement, the Senate Democratic Caucus said Robinson's work in the state legislature is not in question and she deserves the presumption of innocence in due process. According to his website, the Healthcare Institute was founded in January 2015. A certified nursing assistant program was introduced that July. The school received a grant from the Health and Human Services Department for a certified nursing assistant program focused on geriatric populations and educational programs. The school also includes phlebotomy and electrocardiographic technician instruction. An FBI affidavit alleges the federal funds were deposited into the school's bank account for its operation. The funds were then commingled indiscriminately with personal expenditure for the benefit of Robinson and her immediate family. FBI Special Agent Matthew Pruitt wrote. The FBI said the department received a complaint from someone who claimed Robinson used the school's funds to buy a Louis Vuitton handbag for $550. Robinson also spent thousands on credit card payments, hair and beauty supplies, and improvements to her body aesthetics business and her house, including a wrought iron front door valued at more than $5,000. She also spent more than $4,700 on makeup, video services, and a party for her wedding, and $5,000 on a trip to Jamaica. Over a 4-year period, Robinson paid herself $169,134 more than she was allowed to under salary amounts permitted by the federal grant. The criminal complaint details the charges against Robinson and the facts that support the allegations. A federal grand jury will also decide whether to formally indict her. It's not looking too good for her. The only thing I can say in her favor is that she's not the first, nor will she be the last politician to do something like this. But they are definitely going to put her through the ringer based on the receipts that they have pulled up on all of the expenses that she has spent the money on. I'm still stuck on the part where they said that she paid for her wedding and her honeymoon with this money, and then fast forward maybe I don't know how much time later to use to pay for her divorce. Like, that's crazy. She funded a new beginning and a bad ending. But I don't feel bad for her. I don't feel bad for any of these politicians that get caught up in these kinds of situations. You know you're not supposed to touch that money. That money is not for you. That is supposed to be for the people. But what happens is you get greedy. And the thing is, this woman is a state senator. Her salary is already pretty decent, I'm going to assume. But the greed in her would not allow that to happen. So she not only had her salary, but she was taking money from a program and did it over the course of 4 years. And starting in the year that the program got started. I think that's the most craziest thing about it. The program wasn't even in a whole year before she started embezzling money from it. And then put it to her own personal expenses as well as expenses for her children. Now, the children, I'm going to say, are an innocent party in this, because I highly doubt she told them where that money came from. She probably told them it came from her when it really didn't. This is no different than that college admission scandal. It's definitely some differences there, but embezzlement of funds, that's the major similarity. Like, that money was not yours to take, and you took it and put it into your own personal account. My question is, what did she do with her money that she made as a state senator? Like, where was that money at? That's my biggest question. But yeah, at the end of the day, she's going to get what's coming to her. And it sounds like the ball is officially beginning to roll.